All right, Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahaha, Kodash, double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessing to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect, Shalom, Barakathum. And draconian speech is subtly making its way back onto the main stage. And what do I mean by this? All right, if you've been paying attention, Trump announced a new border czar. Let me get his name real quick. He's kind of funny because you can tell he's ready to put some of these Issacharites, all right, some of you Judites, which are Issachar, the so-called Mexicans, okay. A lot of these illegals, he's ready to put y'all into the dirt, man. Okay, he's ramped up. He's got a spirit on him like he lost his kid to one of y'all or something. You know, when you look up a video on him, you'll see what I'm talking about. His name is Tom Homan or Tom Homan. Okay, and Trump recently came out and said what? He said that he's gonna crack down on something despicable, okay, which is the taking of humans and, you know, putting them through a supply chain. I'll put it to you that way. Putting human beings through a supply chain that's coming across the border. And, you know, it sounds kind of good to a lot of people if you're not paying attention, but what he basically said was, he says we're gonna authorize the death penalty immediately. Okay, now what most people don't realize in the legal sense, there's something called precedent. Okay, you know, and that's like a legal concept, which if one judge rules that this is constitutional or it was legal, then it has to apply to all subsequent cases. I mean, every case that comes after that, unless you appeal it or it goes up to the Supreme Court, then the judge has to rule based on that precedent. This is why you hear old cases get cited, like Brown versus Board of Education. That specific case is cited because that's what you call precedent. All right, judicial precedent. And that's exactly what he's doing. And what that is something called, I'm gonna type it in, summary execution. Okay, a summary execution is the killing of a person without a fair trial or due process. And so the reason it's subtle is because he's putting it on a topic that everybody knows is wrong, that everybody knows and agrees with. But what you're not realizing is the government now has that power to legally do it now. They've been doing it already anyway, behind, you know, in the shadows. But now they have the legal power to do it. So now all they have to do is convince enough people, well, which group are now worthy of being demonized, okay? You see certain technologies over there in China with social credit scores, and what happens if it gets below a certain score? You know, all of these things are coming out. And if you're not watching, if you're not in a spirit of watching, you're not paying attention, you're just going to read the news or look at a clip, you know, and go, and it's going to go fly right over your head. But the scripture said this very thing would happen, okay? Let me get a precept here. Most of y'all know where I'm going to go. Let's see here. This is the book of Revelation. All right, chapter 13, verses, where is it? Salakia, verse 11. And it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Okay, now this is we go into this precept a lot because this is Esau's MO, all right? And you saw it when you read Daniel 8 and 25. You can see that was the MO back then when Antiochus ruled, man. It's the same play. Okay, he sounds nice and upfront, and like you got options and choices and freedom and democracy, and this neuro-linguistic programming they have. The words that make you that invoke enough emotion out of you so they can pivot and turn you towards a certain way, and before you know it, you've bought into a narrative. Okay, but underneath it is wickedness. Okay, they have an agenda that they're planning to do. Trump is not immune from this, man. Okay, he's got handlers. Okay, are there infighting with the deep state? Yes, but ultimately, you know, they're gonna come together against one common enemy, which primarily are the Israelites. Okay, and the rest of you people, the rest of you heathen, especially even you other Edomites that are middle class, you're all collateral damage. They could give two shits about you, man. Okay. All right. So when it says two horns like a lamb, the lamb represents those two horns of a lamb. A horn represents power. So you got power on the left-hand side of America, you got power on the right-hand side of America, and they all preach what? A way out, a philosophy that is going to free you or help you. Our way is going to help you get to the American dream faster than their way. That's basically the big debate in America. But what they're not telling you is the dragon has already stated that the American dream doesn't exist if you pay attention. Okay? See, dragons or serpents, they don't speak overtly. They speak covertly, okay? They speak under the radar. They guise their words, okay? You see, they made up sugarcoating, okay? Why is sugarcoating so dangerous? Because you can sugarcoat poison. Okay, you can give somebody poison and make it taste like candy, and what does that do? If it tasted bitter, they would spit it out. So they invented this, man. Deception and craft, man. All right. Let's get to that. Okay. It says, Job 5 and 12, he disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Because this enterprise is based on what? Craftiness, man. All right. He couldn't take down Gad straight up. Okay. You couldn't take down Levi straight up. All right. He had to finagle and move things around and convince people to do this and do that and use deception. Okay, which is a part of warfare. Okay, that's how he did it, man, through craft, man. Okay, and we know this how, because the scripture said Esau was what? A cunning hunter. Okay, cunning really goes into the word craft. Okay, it's not just about raw brute strength and intelligence. It's a wisdom associated with making things into a prey, and that's what this guy does. He turns everything here into a prey. All right, verse 13, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. All right, so you Edomites that trusted in a certain group of your own people, guess what? They're going to be carried away by your own craftiness, man. Okay, you're going to realize that the Constitution was a giant mistake, because it's mutable. Okay, what you did was, all you did was take the power and you just put it way up here and you turned it into a race. So the first so-called white men that get enough power, guess what? They're never going to give you power, because they've achieved enough and got enough control over enough assets to where they can make it impossible for you to do things. And that's been true over and over and over again, to the point now where you have the military industrial complex. This guy he's basically, the government has basically become a god, because you can't really do anything. You can't get to their satellites, okay? You can't get to their robotics factories, okay? You got men and personnel in the military, but look, they're gonna make a decision, and they're gonna choose their lives and their families. So the rest of you people are out of there, man. You're through, okay? And Trump spoke about guillotines not too long ago. You could very well see that in 2025. This guy, Tom Homan, the guy that said he's gonna deport, millions of people, okay? He's got a serious spirit on him, man. You can tell that guy's got bodies on him. If not in this life, another one, definitely. Okay? So all of you that voted for Trump, that thought you were going to have a way because you're so focused on, high grocery bills, which is valid, but you don't have the truth in you, so you're going to miss things, man, all right? See, the economic plan Trump has to get rid of payroll, that was the sugar coating around the pill that was poison, okay? Which is your free. He's not offering you any freedom. He's not offering for you to not be spied on anymore. He's not offering, for the government to have less power and control over you. All right? He's offering to make you feel better. He's offering to make you, he's offering a better form of the bread and circus when you really look at Trump's policy. That's really what he's offering. But your ability to own wealth, that ain't going nowhere, okay? You're never going to be able to own wealth because you can't own land. He's not going to change that law. So these are stumbling blocks, all right? And people that don't understand their enemy, all right? We got to get this precept over and over again. In Sirach 12, in verse 10, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Okay? So, just because you can't see it right now, the nature of it is to rust again, man. All it takes is a little bit of water, a little moisture, and guess what? That same iron pipe is going to show its rust again, because that's the nature of iron, man. Iron and water and moisture will produce rust. Okay? Rust is an oxidation, okay, of iron, and you get that predominantly out of water and air, or moisture in the air. Okay? That's just the nature of it. It's never going to be like chrome, where chrome doesn't rust at all. Okay? Chrome is not rust. Chrome is not iron. Okay? So you got to understand who your enemy is, man. It doesn't matter what it looks like presently or what it looked like in the... Look, this nigga enslaved tens of millions of Israelites, okay, across centuries, for centuries, across 6 continents. And then all of a sudden, you think in the last 50 to 100 years, he just turned a new leaf? When he got filthy rich off of doing that? What is wrong with y'all, man? Do you think the nature of power is to just give it away to somebody that's weaker than him? No, man. Power is the nature of it requires strength, okay? That's just why when you give power to weak people, it destroys things, because a prerequisite for power is you need strength to wield it. So when you put a weak man in office, you put a weak man in power, guess what? Everybody gets destroyed, all right? That's really what the word wicked is a weak man, okay? Let me go to that real quick in Proverbs. Okay. Proverbs 28, 29. Forget where it's at, man. Salakia. The wicked beareth rule. People mourn. Yep. Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. All right, because wickedness really is synonymous with weakness. A wicked man is also a weak man. Okay. Wickedness means you're weak. It means you have a lack of integrity, and integrity highly correlates to righteous men. Okay, this is why King David said, "Preserve my integrity." These are not men of integrity. They don't. They'll sell you out. They're the kind of competitor that you open up a restaurant next to them. Instead of them competing and offering better service, and they'll pull the fire alarm at your restaurant. That's how they compete. That's how weak men compete. That's how men that lack integrity compete. He has a scarcity mindset. Okay, he can't even let other nations develop nukes, even though he's got them. Okay, he never could let our so-called black people compete on an even playing field. He had to always have the head up. He either had to have more population than you, or more money than you, or more access to capital than you, or something. Because he rules out of scarcity, okay? And men that rule out of scarcity are weak individuals. White supremacy is the most backwards. It's stupid too. It's so remedial. You got to be retarded to really believe in it. Because first of all, your worldview is based on a skin color, all right? Which people try to put that on us. We never said salvation is about the color of your skin, okay? We did outline that there's a correlation to the one that will be saved in the color of their skin, but that's because white people made it up. You named yourself white. You're self-proclaimed white people. You named everybody black, white, brown, red, yellow. You took all of humanity and relegated them to 5 colors, okay? So for you to complain now about people are racing based on those categories, that's stupid, man. None other than skin color. But what was the real aim of it? The real aim of it were the Israelites, okay? They didn't have the same hatred of the brown Indians, East Indians, that they did the brown Latinos, so-called Latinos, okay? They didn't have as much hatred for the black, Africans, especially East and South Africans, than they did the West Africans when they enslaved and brought over here, okay? Because they knew something, which was our identities, okay? So this is the MO, was to farm America and to be livestock, so to speak, for this new world that they're getting ready to try to implement. So remember how the devil speaks. I'll get this one last precept, bring this out all the time. Psalm 55, close it. Okay, Psalm 55:21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. All right, this is speaking about him, about it's despicable, about how the kids are being, which he's correct. But what he's not telling you is that he's giving himself power for summary executions. Okay. Now remember, in 2003, they said the Patriot Act, it had to be passed because, they had a good reason, right? Terrorists. They're blowing up people in suicide vests, and there's a good reason for it, right? But did they ever repeal the Patriot Act? Now fast forward to today, how many Americans are they just torturing and putting into the spirit world because they're out of pocket? Now they can name you an enemy combatant. Obama has suspended habeas corpus, which means you had to basically you had to be actually convicted of a crime, like through a court, before they can actually inflict the punishment on you. Like you had to have it. But now they don't need that. They can just classify you as something, man. Okay, and this is where Esau gets really dangerous. That's why the scriptures say the accuser of our brother is cast down. That word accuser, there is categoreo, which means category. So this is how he destroys things, man. Okay, siloing things off, put them in categories, and then demonizing them. That's what a cunning hunter does. But anyway, it says his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And his swords are drawn, man. So we'll see how this thing plays out. I'll end it there. Lord willing, this is edifying. Call hello, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Hashem Rachak Shalom. Call me on Shalom.